Hello, everybody. Emma Jane Soslowski here. Happy Monday. It is a beautiful day here, calling from Chicago, and we're here at FPP Live where we talk to queer artists and creators to hopefully get you inspired and get you excited about making art. I'm going to tag our special guest handle in the comments right now and wait for some of y'all to arrive. So excited to see you. Hi, James. And so here at the Future Perfect Project, we believe that the artistic expression of young people is a declaration of a better future for us all. And so we offer free arts programming, whether it be creative writing or songwriting or puppetry, everything, anything you could ever think of, we've got it. And we've got amazing queer instructors and queer artists that are excited to meet you. So if you're a queer young person or an ally and want to get your hands on some amazing arts programming, we have our fall lineup already. But Jordy is here, and I would love to talk to. I'm so glad you're excited, James. Me too. And if anybody has a question, feel free to pose it below in the comments. George! Hi!
Emmy!
Jordy is here. Jordy and I are very, very, very best friends since college. So for being a little casual, it's because we have a past.
We have hist.
We have hist, short for history. Jordy, I'm so glad you're here. Start out by telling us who you are, your pronouns, where you're calling us from, and how you're feeling right now.
Wow, we love this. I'm Jordy. I am a pop artist from LA. I go by his, he, him pronouns. And honestly, I'm feeling really good today. Today's a really good day.
I can like tap face. I'm so glad you're feeling good.
You know, it's been up and down, but today's a good one. So let's focus on that.
What is your, well, I know you just said you want to focus on it, but I think you're so good at reframing and like being able to cope with things when they're not so great. So like, what is your go-to coping mechanism, I guess?
For when I'm having like not the best day.
Yeah. I think people will be really inspired by that.
It's so funny because I was having a conversation a couple days ago with someone about how there are certain people out there who will kind of like seclude themselves to kind of cope with whatever they're going through. Like they just want to be alone. My instinct is to like FaceTime someone like you or just like a really good friend or my mom, honestly, just because for me, having company in moments of vulnerability is super important. And I know not everybody is like that, but for me, I'll typically, reach out to someone or go outside and go on a walk, listen to music or listen to like stuff I've written to kind of pump myself up a little bit, or write, honestly. I mean, like you get it too, like maybe write a song or two. So, I think everybody kind of has their own way of coping with what they're going through. My way typically revolves around being with others. That's usually something, I think that's like my extroverted side coming out.
Totally. Answer. Yeah, that's so true. Some people really seek out community when they're feeling low. Have you always kind of had, I know you mentioned your mom, but you reach out to people like me, and I'm wondering if you've always like had queer community around you.
To ground me, is that what you said?
Around you. And
around me. And to ground me. So I guess I'm lucky to have, grown up in a suburb outside of Chicago where there were queer people in high school. I had people that I could look up to for sure. I had some family who were also queer. That was also a reminder that, I was never really worried about what my family was going to think about me being queer. But I guess I'm very, very fortunate in the way that I've had people to look up to since I was young. And I think that that's honestly one of the reasons why I really love doing what I do, because, I feel like I'm so lucky to have had the confidence at such an early age that I feel like just isn't necessarily the norm. So if I could use that confidence to inspire other people to be more open with who they are and to feel more confident in themselves, like that's always my biggest goal. So I don't know. I feel like if I had something like Future Perfect when I was younger, it would have been something I absolutely loved. There wasn't really anything like it. And so, you know, organizations like these are so important to get queer youth working together and really seeing each other and hearing each other for who they are, you know?
Agreed. Yeah, I definitely could have used this when I was younger. And I think about when we were roommates in college, it was like the first time I was like, I don't feel weird anymore. And I can't put my finger on why. And it's because literally all of our roommates were queer. And it was the first time I didn't feel weird.
Funny.
And
Yes, dude.
I'm wondering, like, the first time you felt different and felt kind of weird, which maybe could have been like a weird in a good way, like a precursor.
Like something that felt weird but was maybe a sign that like something was right.
Yes, exactly. Like
I
you were
mean,
living in a future that had not yet arrived, as we like to say.
I feel like I feel like it really all started in like the theater and like music community when I was young. You know, I just feel like as much as you know, I don't really do musical theater anymore. I did a little in college, but like I feel like those spaces are really safe spaces for kids. And like it was the first, like I just remember being like in middle school and just feeling like such a close bond to the people I was like doing shows with. I don't know if it was because a lot of them were probably queer or if, you know, we were all just there, you know, with a common passion, which was art. But like, I don't know, just like places where art is, I think. Like, I think that like in artistic spaces, whether it was music or theater or whatever it was, I feel like those were the moments where I was like, why am I not stressed out about like being
Right.
myself? Like it was just like very easy to just be me. And like so I don't know, I feel like yeah, in those kinds of artistic communities, that's where I really felt that.
I
Yeah.
feel like there are a lot of queer people that are like extroverted and like we both grew up in a place and in communities where we like I don't know. I feel like I am a certain person around like Jewish camp friends versus queer friends and like friends from the suburbs, friends from the city. And so it's like sometimes it takes being in that place where you feel so you and so comfortable to be like, oh, I was kind of hiding pieces of myself in these other communities.
Absolutely. I mean like it felt, I mean like at the time I was like being bullied very much in middle school and like following groups of, you know, boys who I like was just trying to, I don't know, be seen by for some reason. And so I remember like every time I would go to play practice, that's what we would say, at, you know, Northbrook Theater, I was always just like, it was like I took a deep breath and it was like this weight lifted off of my shoulders. Like I can come into this building and just like feel appreciated and calm and respected, you know?
Totally.
Yeah, I think that was so important for me.
That's such an amazing feeling. And I'm so glad you had that escape from people that did not accept you and were horrible to you. I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I
You know,
think a lot of
seventh
people,
grade, I think, is universally agreed upon as the
yeah,
worst year of
right.
life.
I don't know her. I don't know seventh grade.
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna ask, like, theater and art was this great escape for you and this place where you felt normal and like you could be yourself. And when did it switch into like from a hobby to like, oh, I am an artist. This is
Mm.
something I want to do.
Um, probably when I really came to the conclusion that I couldn't do anything else. Like, I don't, I
Sure.
mean, like, no, I mean, like, I started as a psychology major. I could have found something that I love. I love to cook. I love, you know, I love to read. I've always loved writing. So whatever form of writing it could have turned out to be, I don't know. I feel like it was, it's weird because I feel like I knew when I was very young, like it was always a dream that I wanted to be like an artist. But I feel like, you know, I still like went to BU and started as a psychology major. And there was like some point where I was like, maybe I need a backup plan. And I feel like it just got to the point where, you know, I switched my major to English and I was like, I want to become a better writer. And I think it's just like, I don't know what the moment was. It could have been like a lot of Treb things too. Just like being on stage, it felt exactly where I needed and wanted to be.
And
So,
Krebs, for people listening, was the a cappella group we were in together.
and it was so important for both of us as people like not studying music. And like now I'm in LA and I'm like, you know, at first I was like the non-Berkeley kid in LA trying to pursue music, but at the end of the day, like I feel very grateful for my time I had there because I feel like I really had, you know, the time to live my life and to have those moments of realization that, you know, this is what I want to do. Even that, like, I feel like it was like the continued passion of it, on top of like not studying it. Like, it, you know what I mean? Like, I was like
Like,
just very sure that it was something I just wanted to jump for. So, you know, probably in college, I was like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do.
yeah, and it like wasn't going away. It was like that thing where you're like, oh, maybe I'll do it, maybe I'll do it, and then it's like, it can't be a maybe anymore. It's like I have to do it.
Yeah. And I really do think a lot of it too. Yeah. Again, with the whole, like, I just really can't see myself doing anything else. Like I can see myself doing other things on top of what I'm doing now, like eventually down the road. But like, I just felt like this is what I'm best at, so we might as well just give it a try, you know?
I agree. Professor Jordy down the road. Oh
Sorry.
my God, Jordy, are you okay? I'm sorry I pushed you.
You pushed me.
Oh my God, there's a Treb alum in the live.
Who? Oh my God! Yes, we love.
Trebs, three Trebs sitting in a room. Trebs is short for troublemakers. I knew acapella would get brought up.
I know.
So you decide I'm going to be an artist. I'm committing to this, and you move to LA. What was that like for you taking that jump? Were you scared? Because people look at you now. You worked with our young people at Queer Song Exploder, and you talked about your process and how to write pop music, which was so amazing. And people look at you and they're like, Jordy has it. Jordy has it all figured out. Jordy did it. But like, were there moments of struggle for you?
Oh my God! I mean, like I was. It's I it's hard. It's so hard. Like the first year in LA was really hard. Like I had friends from school out here. I had a couple of friends from high school out here. Um, you know, I knew kind of the guy I was moving in with, Will, because I knew Sam, his girlfriend. Um, I recognize that, you know, there's so many people out there who just dream of like making the move, and I'm very fortunate to have been able to just make the move,
Mm-hmm.
like as you did to New York. Like just making the move is such a huge step, and it's like I don't know. It's I feel like there's that saying where like people, you know, people say like if you feel really really nervous like before a show, it just means you care, you know. And so I was anxious and nervous, but it was because I had a dream and I was afraid of failure and I was afraid of I wasn't as afraid of meeting new people. I was, you know, I was kind of excited to expand, you know, my friendships, and there were people out here that I had and knew. But even socially, it took me like a year after getting to LA to like really find my
Right.
circle. And I'm still meeting people every day now. And so it's been almost 3 years at this point. So I think honestly, is it a glamorous, perfect process? No. Moving to a new city is really hard. But what I do know is that a move like that and a life change like that can only bring really dope art. And I really believe in that. And so as an artist, I just used a lot of those feelings. I was also going through a breakup. Um, just channeled it all into the art, into the music. And, you know, some of those songs I wrote when I first got to LA are super sad, but I love them a lot. And I think they're super great. And it was just me being real. I was going through it. So it's not easy, but if you have a dream, please chase it because you got one life,
Right?
you know?
How do you like maintain the momentum in moments that are hard like that first year? Because a lot of young people watching this now or watching it later on IGTV or whatever, like could feel really discouraged by a pandemic. And I know you're able to make music during a pandemic, so maybe talk a little bit about that.
It's so interesting. You know, I'm lucky to like work in like a field of art where, um, you know, you can really channel those feelings into something really, really beautiful. Um, It's funny though, because I guess first of all, before getting into like using my art as a way of coping, um, you know, talk to your friends. Like, and if you don't feel like you have friends, like, do research on like local organizations, local clubs that you can be involved with. Like, just making sure you're like taking care of yourself and like meditating and getting outside and just, I don't know, making sure that you are taking care of yourself. I guess again, I was lucky to have friends and have family I can reach out to. And especially during a time of COVID, I mean, I try to fill so much of my time like FaceTiming a lot of people I haven't talked to in a long time, and talking to like our college friends and even someone who lives here, like making sure we're like staying in touch. And for me, that's really, really, really important. Um, and just like, I don't know, I'm in California. It's a beautiful place, and just trying to like enjoy like where I am and trying to, feel lucky for where I am. But if you're an artist, again, like it's a great way to like coping with these kinds of feelings. It's something that you can put into your art. And so, um, even if it's like a little something I record into my phone on a voice memo, or something I write in like an actual session with someone else, or whatever it is, like channeling it into the art is always therapeutic. And as we talked about at the session the other day with all the other kids, um, I'd use upbeat sounding pop to heal. You know what I mean? I would write about these sad topics, these feelings, these things I was going through, but put a dancey, fun beat on top of it so that I could like smile a little bit and just like
Right,
listen to it and
right.
feel really good. And so,
Totally.
that's a huge part as well, I'd say.
So you're like not only coping through the cathartic process of writing the song, but you're also like, I'm gonna make this song
Something that will make me
be the
smile.
medicine. Right,
Totally.
right.
Totally.
Dance through the depression.
Dance through the depression.
Dance through the D through the D, trademarking that. So you, I think something that you're really great at is forming community, not only queer community, but musical community, and finding those people, trusted people around you to make music with. So talk to me about co-writing and like how that's been helpful to you as an artist.
Um, Well, first of all, before I get into co-writing and stuff, just like going back to what I was talking about before, just like finding your community, I guess, as you're talking about now, like, you know, I think I had mentioned like if you're in a new place and don't know anyone or don't have any family, it's like that's where social media can be a really cool thing, because like, a lot of kids who do like the Future Perfect sessions like have met each other through that. It's like meeting each
Mm-hmm.
other through social media, like meet someone on, like, I've met people on Instagram who are really incredible musicians who I haven't even met in real life yet. And so, using social media as a way to also find those connections. For me, when I moved to LA, I knew I wanted to become a better writer. I knew I couldn't do it by myself. And so I just worked with as many people as I possibly could. Um, and to me, like, I don't know, I just got back from a co-write just now, and it's so fun to see a song just get pieced together by like something everybody is putting into it, I guess. Like, there's something about being able to have that person to be like, what do you think about this? And them saying, yes, love that. What about this? And just like having that backboard to like bounce ideas off of each other. For me, collaboration will never be a sign of weakness. I look at artists and writers out there who do everything on their own, and truly inspires me to the max. Love a lot of those artists very much, and they kill it at what they do. For me personally, I just find that the more brains I put into one session, the more headspaces I can fit into one song, the better. And so, I always want to be collaborating. I'm not a producer by any means, so working with producers is something I do quite often. And it's only expanded my network. It's only helped me meet more and more people. You're going to be in a session where someone goes, I know this person, I should introduce you to this person. And then they introduce you to another and another. And it's just a spider web of network. And so, even if you're somebody who enjoys to write alone, and I will write things alone in my room. Um,
Same.
we all do. We all have those moments where it's like, we need to put this down right now. But I would suggest, like, calling a friend or reaching out to someone on Instagram and FaceTiming and just like, hey, like, do you want to like write a song together? Just like give it a try, because you end up getting so close with these people. It's a great way to create friendship, and I just think that, again, the more brain power you put into writing a song, the better the song will be.
Totally. I was really inspired by you when I started putting out music after kind of realizing my own queerness to put she pronouns in my music and write about
Mm.
women. And so I want to know how queerness influences your art. I know your songs aren't like, I'm gay, and like mine either, but like there's an influence, right?
Well, it's just like, I write about love. Like, I love men. So also, like, yeah, like in a lot of my songs I also will use he pronouns because I'm interested in men. And so for me, it's like, my project, I am a songwriter and an artist first. Being gay is a huge part of who I am and something I will always be very, very open and proud and loud about. But it's really just the fact that I'm like writing about love, which makes my music queer because I'm
Right,
queer. That's how I
right.
love.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, not being afraid to use those pronouns. And I know there are a lot of artists who I feel like kind of keep it, like, you don't really know, like, if they're queer or not. And in a lot of ways, like, I will always be such a proponent of, your coming out doesn't need to be a huge announcement. You don't need to come out. You fall in love with someone, and that's just who you fall in love with. And
Totally.
if you coming out is introducing your new, significant other to a group of friends, like, that's your coming out. You know what I mean?
That's your
But
kind right.
I feel like, so in that sense, like, I think artists are entitled to include their queerness however they feel comfortable including it in their project. For me personally, I'm just a really sensitive person. I write about heartbreak. I write about falling in love. I write about me. Like, it's very clear, and it's something that I just have never thought to hide. And again, very lucky to be at a place where I feel comfy doing that.
Right.
It's been how many years since I came out? 10 years. I've been out of the closet for 10 years. So it's been longer for me. For someone like you who maybe like came out later, you had those later moments where you were like, oh, like, I should switch this pronoun. You know what I mean? And kind of creating those conscientious thoughts. The more you write songs, Emma, and I assure you, you're not even going to think about it anymore. You know what I mean? Because it's just going to be what's natural. And what's
Hmm.
natural to me is, I write about dudes because I like dudes. You know what I mean?
I'm just wondering how being a person who's, sorry, I'm like home right now and I'm hearing all the home noise. How, I know being someone who is an LGBT person, like inevitably affects every facet of your life, but you're just saying like you're, what am I trying to say?
like
Like what
you're allowed to be an artist, not a gay artist. You know what I mean? Like, I don't
that's
like,
what
it's
I was
like,
trying to get at.
I don't think any queer artist out there, I mean, like, granted, I don't want to speak for everyone, but like, you know, I grew up listening to straight music because it was pretty much all I could get. So for
Mhm.
me, it's like, you don't look at a straight artist and you go, this is straight pop music. You hear a lot more often, this is like queer pop. And it's like, or it's just pop that's made by dope queer people. You know what I mean? And so
Right.
I think there is a fine line, because it's like, um, you know, I want to be working with queer people all the time. I want my music to reach queer people, especially. Like, that is like my goal. But also, I'd like to hope that my music can speak to a straight person, just as straight people's music spoke to me when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Like, I was listening to Avril Lavigne, Michelle Branch, like all these like
Who
women like wearing their heart on their sleeve, and like, I found a way to connect to that. So I think my music can be universal, but do I cherish the queer community, and are they almost like a priority in a sense? Of course. Of
right.
course.
Speak more to that. Like I think it's so incredible that you actually went to a queer writing camp. What was that like to like write with people that you kind of must have been kind of like those play practices a little bit.
No, totally. No, it totally safe space energy. I mean, like, and we can get into this like maybe later in the conversation, but like, have I worked with straight male producers who I really disliked 100% because they didn't make me feel safe and they didn't make me feel welcome. And I felt nervous to like, honestly, like when you're working with me writing wise or musically, like we're going to be vulnerable. And it was, I've had experiences where it was harder for me to be vulnerable with certain producers who I obviously like wouldn't work with again. But yeah, so a song of mine called Is It Love was written at a writing camp that was entirely queer. And it was one of those moments, I was going to say like it was amazing, but it also just felt what normal should feel like. You know
Right.
what I mean? It was like, it was just like, there was no, you know, I feel like going back to like working with those like straight producers, there's that moment where I'll be like, you know, my ex-boyfriend, and honestly, like I'm very proud saying boyfriend. I'm not like afraid to say that, but I could just be in a room and just be like my ex, and like they know it, like they just everyone's queer. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was just like,
Right.
but also like that might be a bad example because the producer I was working with was bisexual. The co-writer was gay. So that could be a bad example. But I just like it just felt so safe and normal and warm and
Mm.
also a reminder that there are so many queer writers and producers and artists out there that you should work with if you haven't, because there is a plethora of queer artists out there who just might not be getting the attention they deserve because they're queer. So, you know,
Totally.
if you can't
Totally.
find queer people to work with, look harder.
Yes, amazing advice. Sorry, I'm just trying to find a phone charger. Jordy and I are always at 1%, which
We're always at 1%.
I'm by that. Okay.
Also, yeah, there's Hi, everyone.
Oh, no one's there.
Sorry, I'm
It's
just
just
like,
like
okay.
on a table. Oh, people here. People here. I was like, there's no one here. Um,
I'm dying.
okay. So my other questions are kind of let's go back to little Jordy because I want to know what you were
Okay.
like when you were a teen navigating musicality, navigating your queerness. Like, were you always this confident and outspoken?
Hmm. Um, no, I mean like my first year of coming out was really a lot. Like it was I was lucky to have grown up in an amazing family who loved me and accepted me, and a community who also loved me and accepted me. But I who they were the first people to find out I was gay. Um, they are you there? By the way, you froze just a little bit.
Yeah. Can you
Okay,
see
good.
me?
Yeah, I can see you. You're a little blurry. Oh wait,
Oh
hold on.
no.
Little blurry. Keeps loading. Maybe that's better. Um, if you're there,
Can you see
I
me
can just like
now?
continue. I can see you. You're just a little
I am
blurry,
there.
but
I'll bring the charger upstairs. I'll just bring the charger upstairs.
I love that.
I love technol. Is this better?
Yeah, I think this is better.
Okay, yay. Okay, keep
Um,
talking, keep
but
talking.
basically, you know, the first year was. Wait, what was? Remind me the question one more time. Just like what it was like when I was
Sorry,
young,
I'm
coming
gonna
out and
plug my
stuff.
phone into
Oh,
my
was I always this confident? Was I always this
Yeah,
confident?
like what was little Jordy like? Or younger Jordy
No,
rather.
he was not. He was really not. He again was like majorly bullied in middle school, like did not have a community like when I was like 12 or like 13, like just had a really hard time. Milo says, "What's it like to be hot?" Thanks, Milo. Love you. Um,
I love
I was not always that confident. I think it was honestly Emma, and like I'm watching Pose right now. Have you watched Pose?
I haven't yet. I need to watch it.
It's really, 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 really amazing. And like, I think it was like when I went into high school and like the theater kids and the choir kids were like cool and like they were like really respected. And like, I was just like, the girly boy, like the gay, like just like people were, they would bully me and I found that I was always bullied way more before I came out. And then
And
after I came out, nobody really touched me because I think that like people bully people who are um, uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And so I feel like when I came out and I was like, I am gay and proud, like, come at me. They were just like, there was no reason for them to bully me anymore. And I think, I eventually, I was talking about how my parents found out I was gay. I was talking to someone online because I was lonely and depressed and felt alone and needed to talk to someone. Left my Facebook logged on my mom's computer, and they found out I was gay. That was after my freshman year of high school. So I was blindsided. I had no idea they were going to find out so early. I wasn't ready. Went to summer camp that summer, got back, and felt comfortable after telling some, close friends at camp, and seeing how loving they were to me and reacted in such a beautiful way. I was more, and I felt more encouraged to come out that year. So it kind of took me a full year to get to the point where, if someone asked someone if I was gay, they were allowed to say, yes, Jordy's gay. Uh,
yes, I've
but no,
heard.
it took me like being around other confident queer people. It took me like performing and being on stage, using my art in a way where, I was front and center, just kind of, just being around people who were confident in themselves. And, it took some time. It wasn't always like that. And so if you're in a place right now and you're watching this and you feel just insecure and unsure of ever being in a place of confidence, just know that like you will. And at the time, like the It Gets Better project was like very influential, like in the media when I was coming out, and hearing people looking at me and saying like it will get better, like I promise, like it just will. And trust the process. That's
Right.
what my high school theater teacher always said, trust the process.
Now you're a part of It Gets Better.
Well, I have it tattooed on me. It's
Oh
tattooed on
yeah.
me. And I did like a pride festival with them, and now we've been like working a bit more together just because they saw that I had the tattoo and they were like, that's so incredible. And yeah, it's just a daily reminder that you know, there's a funny moment in Bridesmaids. No, it's not Bride. Yeah, no, it's Bridesmaids.
Uh-huh.
The movie where Kristen Wiig's mom looks at her and she's like, when you feel like you're at rock bottom, there's like only way to go, which is up if you're at the very, very bottom. So just like trust that.
Really one sincere moment,
I know,
bridesmaid.
I know, I know. But yeah.
So true. And if anybody wants to work with the Future Perfect project, you do have to get a tattoo first, and then maybe we'll consider your
Then you're
application.
allowed.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I should get one. Um, young people in quarantine at home that want to be artists, do they have to have a certain amount of followers? Do they have to have certain equipment? Like, what does it take to be an artist? What are the first steps?
What it takes to be an artist is to just make art. Like, just like, even if it's in your shower and you're singing a song in the shower that you're coming up with, like, you do not need any form of technology. You don't even need an instrument. Um, if you have a computer, go to YouTube and type in, as we've talked about, like, this artist type beat, and you'll find something to write to. But for any kind of artist out there who's in quarantine and feeling like, just like, um, just lost. First of all, I'm feeling lost. Let's
Let's
remind
let's
everybody that every single human, no matter how big or famous or successful, every single person right now feels lost, and there's no way of going around that. I promise you that. We are all in the same boat, so do not forget that.
true.
But really, just like, I don't know, be honest. Write things down that you feel. Be vulnerable. Like, just write. I really think like it's really just writing. And then if you get to a point where you're like, okay, like maybe I can show someone this, like send it to a friend. And then if you feel comfy after sending it to a friend, you're like, maybe I can put a video up on like YouTube or my Instagram. And if people like, and again, like there's always going to be the haters. You're always going to get hate comments. You can't let that get to you. You have to trust the people who look at you and say your art is beautiful, which I promise you, every single person out there can find another person who loves their art. There's just too many people out there in the world. Like, I promise you. I think it's just like creating, not being afraid to create, not being afraid to fail.
You're gonna make bad stuff. Like, you're gonna write bad songs.
You have to write bad songs to write the good ones. And, you know, even the fact that you're writing the bad songs, it's like, it's better than just like not doing it at all. Like, you need to go in, you know? And so just create as much as you can. If you have resources like technology, you know, if you play an instrument, that's incredible. But all you need is your voice and your words.
Totally.
And that's how you become an artist.
One of my teammates at the Future Perfect project, Ryan, wrote a whole project on his phone, like recorded all the vocals on his phone. And like that, you can do that.
You can literally do that. I'm like, I was even thinking like, someone said this combo is making me super happy. That makes me happy that you're happy. I think that's incredible. And I guess I've been like, because I don't know, I'm even thinking of like, I don't know how you'd be seeing this if you were too young to like have a phone or something.
Right.
But like, I know we take for
if you
granted.
don't have Instagram.
Like, I don't know, but you know, even with lack of technology, you can still create. It doesn't need to be a mastered, finished thing. You can still create and make art. But it is really cool that Ryan did that, and I know a lot of other artists who are doing the same thing because it's all we can do.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
And I love that, like, there's always going to be an audience for your art. Like, a lot of stuff that like, when I started playing music in comedy clubs and, like, comedy shows, I was like, oh, okay, like, finally I found my little weird people that are cool with, like, jokes and music, you know?
Absolutely. No, totally. And, like, I hear you 100%. I hear you 100%. I agree.
Jord, what is your perfect future?
I love that. I love that question. My perfect future, well, damn.
For you and for
For
the
me,
world.
because I'm like, the world, I hope for so many things. Because, you know, we're having this conversation as like white queer individuals, and we need to
Right.
remember that like our journey is nowhere near the journey of those um, of people like of color. And I think like, you know, that's something that
And we're cis. And we're
we're
cis.
cis. So it's just like being very wary of that as well, and acknowledging the fact that this is, you know, my journey and Emma's journey. And you know, I hope that people listening can find some inspiration, but we're also really, really privileged in a lot of ways and really fortunate. And I guess like what I hope for my future, I just hope that we're just all the same. You know, we're all made of the same stuff. And for me, a perfect future is just people really, really seeing that and recognizing that, and seeing people for who they are as human beings. And you know, continuing to make art that's really honest to me, and hoping that, you know, more and more people from around the world can hear that music. I think that it's weird. There's so much progress that's been made since from when I was a teen, but there's also still so much work to do, especially right now. Um, but I think my perfect future just encapsulates, you know, humans loving each other for who they are, not based on, you know, their skin color, their sexual orientation, their gender identity, and just like continuing to create art that means something to me, and also to, you know, really cherish the close relationships I have in my life and to maintain those, and to grow stronger with the people I love. So,
Oh, well said. Love you so much. Is there
love you.
any kind of like final words of advice for young queer people wanting to be like you?
I want to be like you. That's the real thing. Like, I want to be like
I do too.
like the
They're so
kids that
smart.
we zoomed with. Like, I want to be like them, because
Same.
if I had become comfortable with myself at that age, like younger than when I came out, like they are just like way ahead of the game, and it's so flipping inspiring.
Mhm.
I don't
They're
know.
the future. They're in
They're
the
the
future.
future. They are the future. Like, I don't know, if you're seeing this, like, feel free to DM me, reach out. I always respond to everyone's messages, and you can do whatever you want. You can be whoever you want. And if you have a dream, you literally have all of the power you need to go chase it. So go do it.
Really nice, Jordy. Oliver says, I'm 16 and it's so different now. It is so different. And I love that I can say, like, we have free arts programming and we have free songwriting programming that you can take part in, Oliver. Like, you can literally sign up with the link in our bio and meet queer people that are amazing and meet allies and meet people that will kind of foster that artistic community for you. I think like having a reason to show up, like Jordy, when you were like, we're writing on this day together, having a time you carve out to show up and write together is so important. And like,
Absolutely.
I think through the Future Perfect Project, you can find that. Like you have these days every week where you're like, okay, I'm meeting with people just like me and different than me, and we're going to write. And we're dedicated to doing that today.
Absolutely. I love that. Carving out time for yourself, so important.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Jordy, so much. I'm so grateful to you and for making time for us and not only
I'm
doing
honored.
live with us, but also working with our young people. I hope you can come back in the fall and do
I
some
hope
more
so.
pop realness with us. And while I have you and while I have your people here too, I want to talk about our programs this week. Tomorrow we have a really cool workshop I think you'll like called Artivism. I practiced pronouncing this
Love that.
times. Art plus activism is Artivism with James and Z, both members of the Future Perfect Project, and kind of infusing activism into your art, which is so important. How could you not? It's
I love
so.
that.
And then we're going to be having some meditation this Thursday.
Love a good meditation.
Canceling myself for saying meditation. Having meditation and mindfulness this Thursday, a workshop with Paul Singleton III. And this Wednesday, folks who are in Queer Song Exploder, which is this amazing collective of queer people learning how to write songs in all different genres. We're going to be reviewing those songs and getting ready to produce them ourselves. So amazing. And then this Saturday, we're making collages together with the Shitty Craft Club.
That sounds all so amazing. I'm so into all of that.
Jord, you're unfortunately out of age range, but I will collage with you anytime. I actually really like collaging now. It's my personality.
I'll just be jealous. I will be jealous.
And that's really humbling and important for you to feel. Okay, now that I've done my quirky girl face, it's time to end the live.
Love you guys. Love you,
fellow
Emma.
quirky girl, pop artist Jordy, and thank you for being so inspiring and reminding everybody that the artist is inside them already.
Absolutely, and thank you, Em, for having me again. And Future Perfect.
Love you. You're perfect.
Love you. You are.
Bye, everybody.